The Soybean School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Pride Seeds, Nodulator Pro, and Cruiser Max Vibrance Beans.
Bernard Tobin here at the Southwest Ag Conference, joined again by Dr. Shaun Conley from University of Wisconsin-Madison. Sir, thanks for taking the time.
Matt, thank you for the time.
Yeah, great presentation today, and we've done a couple of stories on it. I want to talk about 2018 in Wisconsin. Basically, what your year was like, what you learned from a soybean perspective, and maybe what you're taking forward for 2019. And I think what your lead-off point here is really, hey, soybean variety choice is still the king.
That's right. I think that's the number one thing growers need to spend their time on, because we get lost in traits all the time. Conventional, Liberty Link, Extend, Roundup Ready Yield are all these traits floating around out there. But again, we have to remember the traits, all they do is they protect yield. They don't give you extra yield. And that's why it's important to pick those varieties that perform well over a large environmental area. Main reason, because you can't predict what next year's weather is going to be before you plant, and take the time to invest in high quality, high yielding seed, because again, for a couple extra dollars more for the newer, greater genetics is well worth that possible advantage of 3 to 5 bushels versus buying cheaper seed that may not have the genetic yield potential you need to basically be productive and make money in 2019.
Now, Wisconsin, I think we talked about this, a big thing we want to do this year is look at seed germ and check those tags, because you guys had a tough harvest.
Right.
We had a tough harvest in Ontario. What are we going to be looking for?
So the things we really need to look for are three things, first of all. Again, number one, just know that all the farmers are in the same boat. Doesn't matter if you were in Wisconsin, Ontario, Arkansas, or Mississippi. We all had that rain period, a delayed harvest, and I know I drove over here and 402, I think the road is, and there's still soybeans sitting out there, waiting for the ground to freeze to get them off. So we had a challenge getting it, and with that, we saw a lot of phomopsis come into play. And what that really is going to do is have an impact, a deleterious impact on soybean germ, and basically how much good, high-quality seed is out there for farmers. So as a farmer, you may pick a variety, but the number of units may be limited because of some of those units aren't going to make that percent germ. So again, make sure as a farmer you pay attention to the seed tag, because most of the time we never look at it.
Yep.
It's 92, 95, 98% germ. You don't even think about it. However, in 2019, farmers are going to look to cut input costs. One of those is going to be seed, number of seeds.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, if you really dial back your seeding rate, and all of a sudden instead of planting 92% germ, you're at 85% germ, you get at that threshold where you might start seeing some yield loss potential due to that. So again, encourage growers to go out there, pay attention, read that seed tag, understand the germ, and adjust your seeding rates accordingly.
One thing you never got a chance to talk about in your presentation, but you wanted to, was potassium. Do not short your crop on potassium.
Right, and that's the biggest, in terms of one of the nutrients limiting factors out there, is potassium is a huge driver of soybean yield. And part of the reason we've seen this is, the cost of that investment has been very high over the last 3 to 5 years. Even with good commodity prices, that fertilizer cost has been high. Secondly, corn yields, soybean yields have been off the charts the last 5 years, so we're having more removal. We're not adding it back in. We're removing more. We're basically depleting that soil profile. And what we really need to understand is that, is that K is a big driver, and it influences so many different things. We see in Wisconsin, for example, these fields that have low K values, those are the first ones where soybean aphids come in. Right. First ones where you have thresholds. So again, you're often causing more problems by not alleviating that. And I try to get growers to think about, investing as K is not an expense. It's an investment. Because with K, it's not going to move off the soil like P. Soybeans are K pigs, as I call them. They'll take up as much K, they'll put it in the plant, and what they don't harvest and you don't deliver to the elevator, boom, it goes back in the soil. So again, if you put it out there, it's going to stay out there, and then think of it as investment.
Yeah. And the final point you were very, very firm on is this is not the year to skip a seed treatment.
Right, and the reason for that, again, goes back to the seed quality issue. Because the germ is low, and there's been a lot of good data supporting the fact that in these low germ testing seed lots, the application or the addition of a fungicide seed treatment actually increases that germination, the percent germ, and also, if those plants are maybe a little weakened because of the poor germ, and it helps protect those plants for that early season growth and vigor. So again, I know growers are going to be thinking about cutting, but again, don't cut the seed treatments because they're even be more valuable in 2019 than they probably were in 2018.
Right. Shaun, great insights. Thank you so much, sir. Hopefully we'll get enough rain next year, but not too much.
Exactly. We would have saw record yields in Wisconsin if the 10% of the field wasn't flooded out, so that's what we saw. But
It's farming, and as I say, we'll look forward to 2019.
Thank you. If any growers have any further questions on soybean, feel free to go to my webpage, which is www.coolbean.info, or follow me at Twitter.
Awesome. Thanks again.
Thank you.